to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our annual elector meeting, and we're here to discuss our levy and the budget. I don't know, did you all pick up a copy of that? The revenues we're projecting to go up 5.31%. And most of that's in general property taxes. Expenditures is going up roughly 27%, and that's due to our portion of Park Road. That's the biggest part of that. So our municipal levy next year will be 2.87, and last year was 2.75. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the budget for 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the annual meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now we'll call our regular November meeting to order. And is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? Step up to the table on the mic, please.
I just have a brief statement I'd like to read. Hello, my name is Tom Frederick. I am the First Assistant Chief of the Cambridge Volunteer Fire Department. The fire department is currently functioning very well. The number of members we have responding to calls is good. We have effective training sessions and meetings. We do not present personnel problems for the commission, municipalities, or the public to deal with. We quietly go about providing service to the community. We have sufficient leadership within the organization to continue in our current structure despite having to replace 3 assistant chiefs this calendar year, in addition to the anticipated and well-deserved retirement of our fire chief, Terry Johnson. Operation of the fire department relies on many things. Foremost are the principles of teamwork, trust, preparation, and hard work. We have a leadership structure that supports this and works very well. The Fire and EMS Commission has proposed a huge change to this leadership structure that will be coming to your board for approval in the near future. The fire department has not been included in discussions or the design of this leadership change. For anything like this to be done successfully, we should have been consulted and listened to from early on. The current intergovernmental agreement dictates this. Instead, these changes were created without our input, and we were intentionally excluded from the process. The fire department members have always chosen who will be the fire chief, and this has served us and the community very well. These changes eliminate the fire department from any role in the selection of the fire chief. They also create numerous conflicts with the fire department's constitution, which is very important to our organization. We urge you to vote against these changes when they come before you, or at very least slow down their adoption until everyone fully understands their impact. The way this process has been conducted is wrong and expensive. It has damaged any level of trust between the fire department and the commission. Creating a new or expanded paid position will cost substantially more taxpayer funds. The way this is being done will personally cost the Cambridge Volunteer Fire Department the most. We all have limits on what we have to contribute. Our efforts should always be dedicated first to responding when the pager goes off, and secondarily to preparation for that response through training, equipment management, and taking care of our business. Actions like this leadership structure change bear a heavy cost against these priorities. We have and continue to serve the community faithfully. We deserve better than this. We are always open to questions and further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You.
Any other public comment on items not on the agenda? Did you want to mention something about your name change?
Oh, sure.
Good advertising, you know.
Yeah, right? Thank you. My name is Jen Obranovich, and I am here because we currently have a Class B, I'm not good at it, liquor license under the Sports Page LLC, and we will be changing the name to Cash and Olives Pub LLC. And
Cash and what?
Cash and Olive is plural, or not plural, possessive. Named
Okay.
after our 2 dogs.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? If not, we'll go on to approval of the minutes from the October 4th special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 4th meeting.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the October 4th special meeting as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now approval of the minutes from the special meeting on October 13th.
Move adoption of the minutes as published.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 13th board meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. And now approval of the minutes from the regular October board meeting on October 18th.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the October 18th, 2022 board meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 18th board meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Police chief report.
Good evening.
Yeah.
All is going well. Patrol, we've seen extra hours recently. I think last week we were out there on coverage 6 days. And that all depends on the full-time officers, the full-time job, how much they can get out and away from their full-time job. Harbor Righteous contacted me yesterday. The boat went in for the winterized and then also a repair done to it. The hydraulic was bad. So by the time they put the motor up in the shed, by the time they got to the water, it was already dropped all the way down. So that's been repaired. Don't know what the cost is yet, but we'll be picking that up on Thursday and then putting it in the shed. And then lastly, this year, I don't know if I told you in the past, but we will be, Oakland Police Department will be involved with Shop of the Cop this year, and that is December 10th at the Walmart in Jefferson. Almost I think every police agency in the county now is involved in the program, so that's great. And this year, I think we're up to 25 or 30 kids we'll be adopting for Christmas, so
Oh, good.
that'll be December 10th.
Good.
Yeah, so an all-morning event if anybody's looking to wrap some Christmas presents on December 10th. But that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Jerry?
No?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Jerry.
You.
Did Jeff have anything on the road supervisor's report?
He just said that he is keeping an eye on the weather to make sure that the roads are in good winter driving condition.
Is he done with pickup of branches and stuff?
He said he can always do more.
I suppose. Okay. Clerk treasurer's report.
Last Tuesday, we had an election. We had We have in the town of Oakland 2,389 registered voters, and 1,896 of them came out last Tuesday to vote. Our voter turnout was 79.4%, which beat the state average of 56.75%. The voters in the town of Oakland take their civic responsibility very seriously. We had 13 election inspectors that kept everything going smoothly. We had police coverage the entire day, just in case we needed them, so the election went very well. The county clerk notified me today that it is time to start getting ready for the spring 2023 election. So those town supervisors who are up for re-election, nomination papers are available beginning December 1st. They are due January 3rd, 2023. If we have current supervisors who are deciding not to run, there is a non-candidacy form that has to be filled out by December 23rd. All of those forms are available in the clerk's office. And for anybody else who is considering running for municipal office.
We have typically put an ad in the paper letting them know that which positions are open or up for election.
Okay.
Are we going to do that again?
We can. We can certainly put it in the paper and on our website.
Yeah, I think we should. Okay, anything else?
Property tax bill should be mailed by December 9th.
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Okay, if there's nothing else, any questions for Susan?
Thank you.
Okay, discussion and possible action regarding a liquor licenses for Warm Belly Farm LLC in Oakland for the period of November 15th, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. It's a Class A beer and a Class A cider. You want to step up and tell us what you're wanting to do?
Thank you, appreciate your time. My name's Francis Wisniewski, owner of Warm Belly Farm. We're looking to get a Class A cider license so that we can use our excess apples and strawberries to produce a hard cider that we would be able to sell to our pick-your-own customers. We're required to get a Class A beer license in order to get the Class A cider license,
Right.
although we don't intend to use it in any way.
You're not serving it there, you're selling it.
The Class A only allows us to sell it and not serve it.
Yeah, okay.
It would basically be 4 packs of 16-ounce bottles for people to take with them of cider produced in Stoughton for our customers.
Okay. Any questions for Francis?
Sounds fine to me.
Move we approve the granting of the liquor license.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the Class A beer, Class A cider liquor license for Warm Belly Farms LLC. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Francis. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Discussion and possible action on environmental specialist contract. I got one question.
How much
In
is
that
it?
contract, it doesn't tell us what the cost is.
Yeah,
How
that's
much is
what
it?
my question too.
It never does.
No. Did you get a quote on it?
We received an email a couple months ago saying that the cost is going to be $126 a month for 2023.
How
Same
much?
as last year.
126?
$126 a month for 2023.
I think that was the same as last year, correct?
It went up a little bit, minor increase.
I'm good with it.
And that's for the
Porta potty
toilet at the
landing.
boat landing.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for environmental specialist for $126 a month for 2023.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve environmental specialist contract for $126 a month. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Something to sign. Okay, next item, discussion and possible action on a contribution to Jefferson County Clean Sweep Program. I don't remember what we had budgeted for that. You know,
I don't believe we budgeted anything for that.
What did we do last year,
we
did
always
we?
did.
I don't remember seeing anything last year, so nothing was budgeted for 2023.
So we probably didn't do anything.
I
last
remember
year.
seeing this for a few years.
I don't think we did anything in 21 or 22.
Who funds this typically then? Is it all?
Say again?
Who funds this typically? The county and
The county.
Mainly the county, but looking for,
Yeah,
Help from the
contributions from the
municipalities.
and
municipalities.
potential individuals maybe, or not even that?
I think they do charge for
Yeah, they
some of
do.
the stuff.
'Cause
Oh,
I-
they charge for every,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you definitely have got to pay to
Right.
do that.
But it's a nominal fee.
So the fee is really to
Well, to underwrite.
fund the program, I guess,
Yeah,
the
underwrite the-
advertisement and maybe the people who are involved in all that?
Right, and the help.
Yeah, the help and the people.
I don't know if that's volunteer there or not, I'm not sure.
You'd think the program would pay for itself by what they collect,
Yeah.
because it's like.
So do we
it's
want to do
expensive.
something this year? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Why don't
We
we,
could do something nominal.
I was going to say, well, or just hold it till next meeting and look and see if we in fact did pay anything the last,
Well,
I
it would have
was-
shown up on the last year's budget. if
would
we
it,
did.
oh, it would have shown up?
Yeah.
We didn't, I don't remember this for a couple of years.
I don't either.
I don't either, but
I know it comes across every year. That I know.
Wanna
We could
give
do
500
something
bucks?
nominal.
I give $500?
Yeah,
I'll make a
probably
motion.
not
to
that
do-
much.
The lowest amount on here is $25.
I was going to say 50 or 100, but that's,
Yeah, 500, that's a lot.
I
yeah.
mean, I'd like to, be nice to know their financial situation. Because it's expensive. I got a lot of electronic equipment, and you
Yeah.
can't get rid of it. TVs cost more to
Get rid of.
get rid of than they're worth, right, with the flat screen TVs and computers. It's just the fact of life now.
Have you ever taken it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've
How
taken
much
it.
do they charge?
Expensive. I've got a big plasma that I had, it's in my basement that I don't use anymore because I just don't want to take it in. It's really heavy and it's going to be expensive.
Got to get it out.
Until I move, I'm going to,
Well, and they still don't take everything. We took a couple things the other day at the last one, and they said, no, you can't, because, it's like, we can't open it up. I can't take out what's inside. And they, too bad. So, I don't know. But it's something we really need.
Well, I'll entertain a motion either way.
I'll make a motion to give $100.
I'm okay with that. Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to contribute $100 for the Clean Sweep Program to Jefferson County. And where are we going to get that money? That's the next question.
Is that technically this year's budget or?
No, that would be next year.
It would be next year,
Right.
2023.
No, yeah, okay, I see that. Sorry.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next item is discussion and possible action to approve the contract with Jefferson Fire and EMS. They sent new ones over, correct, where they included town of Farmington?
Yes, and I updated everybody's contract. And there's two of them, one for fire and
Yeah.
one for EMS.
This is basically the same one we discussed at our last meeting.
So it's already in the budget at these levels?
Yes.
Okay. If that's the case, I'm just going to make a motion, we approve them, we really don't have a whole lot of choice. especially if it's the same numbers in our budget. Really, not a whole lot, I think, to discuss.
Well, Fort we approved 2 months ago. No, I guess it was last month. We didn't have Jefferson's yet at that point.
It's a 5-year contract, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Is that normal to have 5-year contracts?
so we've always had one.
It's
We
just
have
a small
10
add.
with,
It's spelled out what the charges are
Yeah.
each year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have
that's,
10 with Fort
Actually,
Atkinson.
Fort, we did a longer-term contract for fire, but the EMS contract is 3 years, so it kind of catches up to the fire, so they'll both be due at the same time next time. Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion's made and seconded to approve the Jefferson County Fire and EMS Department contracts for the next 5 years. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Discussion and possible action to appoint a committee for selection of a new town attorney. Mary Bailing has informed us she's probably going to be retiring mid-year next year. And I think it would be wise, she suggested it too, that we get a new attorney at this point so that anything coming up, if they need some input from her, she'd be more than happy to do that. So Ted and I have been scouting out new attorneys or attorneys that do municipal work. And I think it's time we do some interviewing and figure out who we should get.
I assume they're within the area.
Pardon me?
I assume they were within a
Well,
close area or not?
yeah, but we are looking at a couple of Madison attorneys, just from the standpoint of, you know, we've been very fortunate with Mary being close and in town and available, but then you start dealing with a single person, and when we ended up waiting a couple of weeks for some things recently. So we're saying maybe if we find an attorney with a couple of qualified people, that might be something worth looking at, but we're going to have to weigh what the hourly cost
That's what I was
is.
just going to say.
And it's, you know, but then again, you know, if you don't find someone who's, you know, and I put this in an email to Mary the other day, she spoiled us really badly, you know, because she can handle almost anything that we bring to her. She has experience. Not sure we're going to find that with everybody that we interview and talk with, so. So we're going to try and stay as local as we can, but we might interview, I think, one or two from Madison. Some of the stuff that we've gotten from Stafford Rosenbaum was written by one of the guys who worked for the Towns Association and was a staff attorney up there. And so that might be worth a chat. But I think we'd like to narrow it down to 3-4 firms and see if we can get it done soon.
So you'd choose 3 or 4, and then we would all be for the interview?
Would it be beneficial to do that? Have the whole board interview them?
I know we've had them come, I mean, they've come and spoke to the board before when we've narrowed it down. I remember that one time.
Yeah, maybe we want to, depending on how many we interview, maybe get it narrowed down to between 2.
Yeah,
And
I'd say
then-
2 to 3 max.
You know, then have those people come and
Talk to
talk
us.
to the board. Might be a good way to do that.
Yeah.
It's new territory because Mary's been our attorney for 40 years. So,
Well, and does she have any recommendations?
She's given us a couple of names,
Yeah.
and we've gone and looked them up. We've talked to a couple other towns who they use. Susan knew somebody, too, that did some other municipal work. So we are getting some names to look at.
one of the things we have to consider is if they have to come to court, you know, that they have to
Right,
drive 75 miles to get here.
right.
Well, that's why I was thinking Jefferson area,
Well, there's,
Watertown.
right,
Yeah,
Fort,
there's a couple of them that we're looking at are up in Watertown.
Yeah, there's two in
I'm not
Watertown.
familiar with any of those attorneys, but Stafford Rosenbaum,
Yeah, you
I
probably,
know a number of attorneys there.
yeah, one of them that we looked at had 63 attorneys. It's like, no.
That's a big firm.
Yeah, so I, if that's your consensus, we'll get it down to 2 or 3 and then bring it to everybody. Do you want a motion or do you want just, so move that we'll now continue to work and get it down to 2 or 3, and then have them come to the board.
yeah, second.
Yeah.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to appoint Ted and myself to a committee to select a new attorney. Get it down, narrow it down to 2 or 3 firms. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next item, discussion on the Cambridge response to letters concerning Blue Jay Way. As you're aware, in September, we sent them a letter with our feeling on Blue Jay Way. I mean, we've always been under the impression that the roadway does belong to Cambridge. I mean, it's in the IJ that it does. But for some reason or another, they seem to think that it only covers snow plowing and crack sealing. So we sent them a letter on the 4th of September. They responded. You should have that letter in your packet on October 5th. And in that letter, they address nothing from our letter. So I don't know if we ought to respond to it. I mean, they didn't respond to anything that we suggested.
I guess I'm a little confused with the committee that was set up, because they're saying that there was a meeting and approved the quote for the Blue Jay Way.
That is correct.
And then under a separate agenda item, no action was taken on that.
Well, it depends on whose minutes you read. If you read we both had representatives there taking minutes. Our minutes read vastly different than the villages.
Our minutes read what?
Our minutes read vastly different than the villages. We agreed to and we asked them to consider annexing upon completion of Blue Jay Way. And this isn't you have to look not only at the September 4th letter, but we sent another one back in June or July. I forget the exact date. We've pointed out a number of things that deals with roadway maintenance, right-of-ways, down tree. We've proven that these were original things back in the 1900s that were annexed to the village originally. And every time we raise something, we just get a different direction, go off here, go off there. And the agreement out of our meeting was that we'd try to come up with something. But it wasn't a rule. It wasn't a law. It was a suggestion. So this is like, well, you got to do this exactly. No, we don't. It made sense when we were talking about doing Blue Jay Way that this is the time for the village to take it. And then it's a little bit, it's frustrating. We've raised points and they just ignore everything we've raised and raise back, something that makes no difference.
Just a caveat, I was here when we did the original IGA in 2006. And for the next 12 to 14 years, it's always been talked about, yeah, we need to get those roads annexed. Their village engineer said it shouldn't be a big problem to do, but it never happened. Nothing ever happened. So we had a clerk treasurer here that worked for Blooming Grove for a number of years, and that's an island in the city of Madison, where their town hall and town shop is. So he said that islands don't mean anything. So we petitioned in 2018 the state to allow those roads to get annexed into the village. And when I presented that at our joint meeting, they immediately adjourned the meeting and left. And since then, they somehow seem to think that, you know, that IGA don't mean anything. I'm not sure. I'm kind of beside myself because we offered goodwill to pay for half of that road to get
Right.
it done. And so I'm not sure where we go from here.
Well, there's a lot of factors here, right? So, I mean, what I remember about that meeting was we agreed to pay for half. We'd bring it back to the boards for approval. The part of annexation was talked about in that committee meeting, but also agreed to continue talking about that going on with other meetings. So it seems like we've asked them that we're not going to pay them now until they annex it, where I remember us saying we would help pay for it, and then we would continue talking. And that's what the minutes reflect here in the October 5th minutes that the village provided us, and that is what I remember happening. So I think there's a little confusion here on which way this is supposed to move forward.
But then, Jimmy, we passed as a board.
In our meeting, correct.
A meeting
different
that
motion.
said, we approve, please annex.
Correct.
And the answer that I've yet to hear is why they refused to annex.
Well, we agreed to have
There can't be a good reason that they can't annex that road. I mean, I sure can't get an answer from them.
Seems like we're showing good faith by paying half of the road right now.
Exactly.
I mean,
But our motion at that meeting was that the road would get annexed and then we'd fix it.
Correct. But out of the committee, it didn't come out exactly like that, and I think that's kind of rough.
So any suggestions how I respond to this?
Well, I suggest we go back and have another meeting for the subcommittee, and we continue working the process through as a committee.
Because it isn't going to get fixed this year anymore.
Well, I understand that. It's got, something has to happen at some point, right?
But Jimmy, you'll forgive me, but, this big issue with the tree that's down, we proved by statute that they have authority and responsibility for the right-of-way and the down tree. Is it moved? No. This is just ridiculous I'm all for a meeting if there's something that's going to happen. But to go to another meeting and talk about things, they've had 16 years to figure out that this agreement's been in effect and that they would be asked to annex. And now they need another 4 years to talk about it, to figure out whether they want to annex it or not. I'm sorry. I've spent a lot of time researching all of this stuff to lay this out, and it's like,
Well, what's the alternative? I mean, we can't, if they're not willing to annex it right now,
well, we could say that they're in breach of the agreement, not
and then we
pay
just take the road back?
our quarterly,
We have
they're
the
due a quarter.
go ahead.
No, well, I mean, we have a quarterly payment due to them. From road
We've
aid.
been paying them almost $30,000 a year for road aid.
Mm-hmm.
Every year for 16 years.
I know, but what's the alternative? Just take the road back if you're not willing to meet with them anymore?
Why don't we just take the road back and fix it? How is it going to get fixed if we don't do anything?
Why should we fix it when we receive tax revenue of $720 a year, and they receive revenue of $13,000 a year for the tax to their residents on that street. We could close the street and close it to residents only. Not have to worry about maintaining it very much. I mean,
I mean, we can keep fighting about it, I mean, but it doesn't fix the problem. So, I mean, if we keep meeting and try to come up with some kind of solution, I mean, it seems like a reasonable thing to do.
I thought that was the whole purpose of the committee to start with, is just so we didn't all get together and argue. That it was just a few people from each township, or each, from the village and from the town, and get it settled. I don't know.
And basically they did, except they won't annex it.
Right, our whole
purpose behind
purpose
it
here is saying, hey, we'll pay, you, even though you've collected the majority of the government, the Wisconsin aid, we'll pay half of this and just annex the road. It should be annexed. It's in front of the high school, which is annexed, and most of the residents are annexed. It should be a village road.
But how
But
are we
what?
going to get them to do that? What's the alternative if they refuse to continue
Status quo.
to refuse to do it?
Then it stays
The
just
status
as
quo.
it
That's
is.
just what it is. The road doesn't get repaired. Status quo.
And we take the road back completely.
No, not necessarily.
We don't take the road
We don't?
back. The IGA says it's theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we just don't,
I think the ball's in their court, and I'm
Yeah.
not exactly sure how to respond to the letter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Other than to say, well, the ball is in your court, get it fixed. Now that it isn't done this year, you know that the bid next year is gonna be higher than the one we got this year.
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else we can do.
Well, Margie, you got it,
From Switzerland, invite me to the meeting.
pardon me?
I will facilitate the meeting if you'd like to help everybody get where we need to go. Bringing buckets of gravel to fill the holes is a difficult place to be in for us right now in the school. That's what we're doing ourselves. So
That's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
I'm understanding you made the motion that you would pay for that portion after they annex it. So it was conditional, they annex it,
Right,
and then you pay your part.
right.
No, actually, it was the annex upon completion.
Pardon me?
Annex upon completion of the road.
Correct.
Repair. It was, we would agree to repair, but we asked them to complete an ordinance annexing the road upon completion.
And that's
So we're
simply a
paying
matter
for
of
it.
doing an ordinance in the village. I'm sorry to put you guys through that. I mean, it's right in front of the high school, and that's a bear.
Lots of traffic,
Yeah.
lots of visibility for all of our visitors who come and
Mhm.
go and so forth.
Why don't we give it a shot? and Have you come to a meeting?
Happy to
Maybe they'll agree.
join in the meeting and
So we're talking about a committee meeting.
Yeah, and invite,
me and Mark or whoever else from the village and have a friendly arm wrestling session or something. I'm happy to participate in any way to support it. I'm just trying to understand the history and where the opportunities are to get it done.
was that money in our next year's, what budget line was that money in, at 50,000? Is that
Just
ARPA funds?
simply in the roads.
Road construction.
Road construction.
I make a motion that we have another meeting with a neutral party as a,
We don't have a motion on this one. I mean,
It's just
you-
discussion.
if you guys, if the committees want to meet, then you two should figure that out. If you want Margie to,
it's worth a shot.
you'd arm wrestle for it, right?
Yeah?
Okay.
I I will go, but I have a very low expectation, so.
Okay.
Try.
I appreciate it, everybody, so if we could just try to find some common ground and get it done, I'm happy to help in any way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd just like to get a response as to why they don't want to annex that road. I just cannot understand that.
What was that? Why they don't want to annex it?
Yeah, why don't they want to?
They wanted us to come to a public meeting and answer why we wouldn't do it, so we went back and said, we'll come to the public meeting, we're going to ask one question, why won't you annex? And there's no longer a request for a public meeting.
No, I don't know why don't they want to annex? Yeah.
There must be some deep, dark secret.
So who's going to set up this meeting?
The committees, that's the
Yeah,
committee.
it's a committee, so we'll set up a committee meeting with the village.
Yeah, I'm not available till at the earliest December.
Early December?
No, I'm not until early December, and it depends, I've got a couple other things we got to see when.
Okay, next item is approval of disbursements. We're going to make the Badger game yet, you know what?
I'll make a motion that we approve disbursements. I believe it's an EFT to the Wisconsin, beginning with the EFT to Wisconsin Retirement System for $1,941.34 through and including EFT 409-29428 in the aggregate amount of $166,771.99.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve disbursements in the amount of $166,771.99. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, in correspondence, you got the November
Can I
court
do-
docket?
Gene, can I have an announcement for,
Yes.
to bring everyone else up to speed? We have finally received the final traffic study of the Didion
yes.
property for access on either A or 18. The recommendation from the traffic engineer was probably for two access points on Highway A. They felt that the state would not give us an access on 18. However, when they did their study, it showed that if they put an access on 18, it would be more used than either of the two out onto 18. I met yesterday with Matt Zangle from the County Zoning and Brian Udovich from County Zoning, or County Highways. We agreed that we do not like the two on Highway A, that would be too close, too much things. So we suggested that we go with one on Highway A, very similar to, was it Oakland State?
Oakland Park.
Oakland Park
Estates.
State, where you have a very wide and with left turn, right turn, and probably, I talked to Brian again tonight, probably a right pull-off lane to make right turns into it, probably a left-hand turn lane, and he thinks very strongly we should have the passing lane. So we're in agreement with that. I've talked with John Didion this morning. He's in agreement with that. He liked that better than the two. He did say today that he understood now, after reading the study, that why we kept pushing for 18, and he says it's too bad we can't get one on 18 and a.
They won't do both?
They won't give us access on 18.
The Wisconsin Department of Transportation says, we see that this is of no benefit to the motoring public.
What did you say?
This is of no benefit to the motoring public. Now, what they don't talk about is whether there's a benefit to our citizens, whether there's a benefit to our emergency services, whether there's a benefit to our school and bus drivers. They don't weigh any of that. They just take a very narrow view. So we are going, this has delayed doing the preliminary map and layout, so we're going to try and get that done. There might be some more discussions, but we're going to go down the road and get moving again with the one main access point on County Highway A. So hopefully we'll start seeing more. I'll have more preliminary plats and things for you in the next quarter. And hoping that we can be ready to start moving when construction season hits to at least start some of the stuff. So that's kind of, it's good news that we've agreed and we've agreed, John's agreed. Now it's just a matter of getting it there. And if by some miracle we can get the second one, we're still early enough in the stage that we could make a modification to the drawing to accommodate it. But
My main concern on the whole thing was the emergency services
Yeah.
coming from Cambridge. You know, that's going to add
2 minutes?
3-4
no.
minutes to get to the back end of the development.
if you go all the way around and come back to the back end, you're going to be, so.
I know that they have said for a while, well, back when Jorsted's built, they weren't able to have a driveway out
Yeah.
to
No.
18.
Well,
They had to
that's-
join into Marlene.
It's a minimum access highway, but you would think when you got a development that could have 100 and some residents in there, that would warrant coming out on a highway.
You're talking 1,400 trips a day going in and out. So you know.
That's
but-
what
and
they're
it-
estimating.
Huh?
That's what they're estimating.
Yeah. And then we have another parcel on 18 too that I don't know if anybody's going to be able to develop that with and get an access. There are other problems with that one, but
That one has a sewer problem
Yeah.
as well. They can't get access to sewer.
so anyway, we're glad this finally has gotten to this point. So it's been a long way getting here. So
Okay, any other questions for Ted on that?
Thank you.
Okay, we got the correspondence, got the November court docket, report from Wisconsin Lakes Partnership, Cambridge Area Fire and EMS Committee minutes, and, where is that? Advocacy Council, which is one we pay for. What happened to
The press release. This one. Right here.
And the press release issued by the Cambridge Community Fire and EMS Commission on November 11th. That's regarding the fire EMS chief.
So as Tom spoke about that in session or public comment, you were at the meeting, Gene?
Yeah.
What came out of that meeting as far as,
We'll be having a meeting with the president of the commission and the attorney to go through, because to do that, we have to change the IGA.
to combine these jobs that
Yeah.
you're talking about?
So they'll be out we'll either have a special meeting or we'll do it at the December board meeting and go through that IGA.
So is the fire department involved in that then too?
They're going to have a meeting with the fire department prior to that. I don't know if they've lined anything up at this point. Okay. That's the plan. Okay, next meeting date, December 20th.
move we adjourn.